Hey, what's up everybody? This is Nightwing2303 from kicksoncourt.com. Today we have another performance review and it is on the Nike Zoom Soldier 7. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. Here's just a quick look at the traction pattern. And these guys here are definitely not traditional. It's not herringbone like it was on the Soldier 6. However, it does work very, very well. One thing to note is that the rubber is very soft. So outdoor play, I personally wouldn't try it unless you want to burn through it real quick. But basically it is awesome. It didn't look awesome in pictures. I thought that this was like a big mistake at first, but turns out that it works. It works on dusty situations as well. So no matter what your court condition is, this traction pretty much got you covered. The cushion setup is Nike Zoom. Again, this is something that they've been using on Zoom Soldiers for quite some time now. It is heel and forefoot based. It doesn't feel as comfortable or as pillowy as last year's model. However, it does work. It's in there, it's in place, and it feels kind of decent. It feels just like the Hyper Disruptor that I reviewed a while back, and which means that I couldn't really feel the zoom. I couldn't feel the responsive kind of springiness to it, but you do definitely feel that it is absorbing a lot of impact because your knees, your joints, and all that kind of stuff does not hurt. So it doesn't feel great, but it doesn't feel horrible. It's just basically it gives you reaction time, so you're not mushing into the shoe like you were into the Soldier 6 a little bit. I know sometimes it felt a little bit soft, especially in the heel. This guy's not like that, so you won't have any like delay in your response or reaction time, which is a good thing. So I personally like the way that the Soldier 6s felt in the forefoot more than these, but in the heel I like these a lot more. It's a lot more stable. So as far as cushion goes, it's not too bad, but it's definitely not that typical kind of Zoom Air feeling that you might be used to, but it's definitely going to do its job. The material basically is fuse, entire upper, just like last year. The only difference is that this has way less mesh than last year, so this one's not very breathable. And the fuse is a lot harder. It's not pliable. It's actually really stiff, and it's very hard to break in. It took a few nights to break these things in, and even then it's still a lot stiffer than most fuse based models that I've been used to anyways, as far as like the KDs, the LeBrons, the LeBron 10 and all that kind of stuff. So this is more of a older style type of fuse in my opinion, where it's more TPU based, which gives it that kind of structure and rigidness. Now the one good thing about that is that this material is definitely a lot more supportive than say last year's, where it had mostly mesh along the quarter or side panels, and then the front and the back was that fuse. So you're not going to have as much I don't know how to explain it, but this is just going to contain your foot a lot better. You're not going to have any movement of material or anything like that while you're making your moves, and it's definitely more supportive. As far as the fit is concerned, they do fit true to size. So go with your regular size, you're going to be fine. The only issues that I had a problem with were initial lockdown during the break-in time. These are very, very stiff, and I'm talking about the midsole. Like they didn't flex very well at first, so my heel kept popping out of there. That did go away as soon as I was able to break these in. So initial lockdown's kind of iffy until you start to really break them in, and then they start to kind of mold to your foot and give you that more of a one-to-one fit that you might be used to. The only other issue that I had was basically the hot spots right here. This rubber piece just really tore into my foot. It was mostly on this side, the left side. The right side I felt fine. I don't know why, but for whatever reason the left shoe kept giving me hot spots in this section here, and it was pretty uncomfortable. Did not go away even with break-in time, which is a bummer, but it's not anything to where it's so painful that you can't play. It's just something that you're going to notice, and you just play through it. Other than that, I thought that the fit was nearly perfect. The one thing though is that I do feel that this strap is kind of unnecessary. I felt perfectly locked in when it was there, and then when it was on, it basically felt the same. So I remember feeling the same way with the Zoom Soldier 3, and I just kind of felt like all those straps were kind of weird and like out of place. I thought last year's strap definitely did not look good, but it was extremely efficient, and it really kept the lockdown of your heel into the back of the shoe. So I liked last year's setup better as far as like functionality goes. This way it looks a lot cleaner, in my opinion at least, and it's a nice place to put the logo. Like I was saying earlier in the material section, the ventilation is pretty much non-existent when you're comparing it to last year's Soldier 6 model. The only area in which that you get ventilation or airflow is through this tongue, which is all mesh. and then there's one little open window right there. And that's pretty much it. There are mesh panels here, but it's not breathable at all, and you know, it is what it is. It doesn't bother me. The fit is very contained, so it didn't bug me. I didn't have any sliding inside or anything like that with the built-up moisture. So all in all, the moisture or the ventilation is definitely going to take a hit as far as the score goes, but as far as how it actually made the shoe perform, didn't really affect it one way or the other. So overall support. Last year's model, I was able to bend that thing basically in half. There was an internal shank, but it wasn't anything to where it actually like did anything. And this guy here, like I was saying, the midsole is very stiff and rigid, so the only real area in which it will flex is in the forefoot. You can't, well, I guess you can a little bit, but I'm really putting a lot of pressure on this thing, and that's really not going to happen in a game. I did not feel my arch pulling away from the shoe whatsoever, and that could have been because of the extra rigidness, and it could have also been because of the placement of the strap. So I guess it's not completely non-functional, but again, it wasn't completely necessary. So with that, the rest of the support's coming from that fit, and again, with this being a more durable and harder fuse, you're definitely going to have a lot more support with the fit itself, and I didn't have a problem with support whatsoever. Overall, I wasn't too impressed with the shoe. It's basically a kind of like a basic team shoe right now. It felt very, very similar to the Hyper Disruptor, and in my opinion, that's never really quite a good thing, because you kind of want these shoes to stand out, like, oh yeah, I remember that shoe, and blah 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 and all that stuff. But when I'm kind of playing them, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. You know, they work, and that's pretty much it. It's not as great as a LeBron 10, and it's not as, you know, fun as the KD 6 and all that kind of stuff. So it's a basic team shoe, which is exactly what it's meant for. It's a good bang for your buck option, because you're getting forefoot and heel zoom, a good fit, a durable upper. The only problem with this shoe, in my personal opinion, is that the rubber is so soft and all that stuff that, you know, if you play outdoors, like that just kind of takes away part of your purchasing. You know, like, who's going to buy this for 120 bucks or 25 bucks? Go play with it for like a month and burn through the traction. That's going to suck. So if there are XDR versions, I do recommend going with that, or just get an actual fuse model like the Hyper Disruptor, Hyper Fuse, etc. for outdoor play, because that's what those shoes are meant for. This is more of an indoor option for players and teams. They're going to come out with tons of team colors with this shoe, and that's basically what this shoe is. It's LeBron's team model now, whereas when it first initially debuted, it was his postseason model. So that is pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all your support. If you need to know more information, you'd like to see their weight, their scores, and all that kind of stuff, just go to my site, kicksoncourt.com. And with that being said, thanks again, and until next time, guys, have a good one.